All right, welcome to episode 180 of the Artcasters, which freaks me out a little bit. We're getting closer to 200. That's a lot of content.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the time where 24-hour art check was going to catch up to the 100s, but now that you guess you're going to do it twice a week, so it's going to take you a little longer.
Yeah.
But you're definitely gaining. You guys are gaining on us, so.
Yeah, we'll catch up at some point.
Yeah,
and then I don't know what'll happen. Like, I think reality will just collide. Yeah. So the format's going to be just slightly different today, in the sense that usually it's hosted by myself and Scott, and then we have a special guest. And we actually have no guest today. So the guest is actually us. So we're just going to be kind of having a conversation, mostly about some of the things we're like preparing recently, and then just see where that goes as a conversation. So thanks to everybody who's joined us in the chats. And as usual, we'll just start off by saying where you can find us. You're on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you get a notification anytime a live video is about to go on. And you can check out my art at quarterlystories.com and the soon to be revamped joshuakemble.com, so which I'll probably be talking about a little bit on here. So if you want to see a WordPress kind of 1.0 website that's soon going to be replaced, hopefully by something a little better, go check it out now because it's limited time only. So Scott, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at circworks.com, SERKWORKS. Also Circworks on YouTube, and pretty much Circworks anywhere on, well, not anywhere, but the major ones. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Pinterest, I'm on I never mentioned Pinterest, but actually, if you're on Pinterest, follow me, because I've got tons of awesome art references on there. There's tons of stuff. I need to concentrate more on that because I think I have a pretty decent following on Pinterest, but I don't use it as much. I need to start posting my own stuff on there, so hopefully I'll get it out there. But anyway, so I'm on most of those social networks, and let's see, what do I have to promote? As usual, I've got the Comic Maker Starter Kit.
How much?
Before Josh says anything, it is free.
Free? You lost your mind.
It's free, but wait, there's more. It comes with tons of cool comic book resources that you can use to create comics, and all that good stuff. So whether you're looking for templates, comic book fonts, comic book what else? Brushes, all that stuff.
Textures, so, like halftone patterns. It's actually, I know I joke about this every Artcasters, but it's actually a really cool asset to kind of get for free. So you guys can definitely check it out. Everyone I know who's downloaded it has spoken well of it. So yeah.
Yep. So yeah, and I don't know. Other than, I guess I can. It's a little early, but I gotta find the date, I think. But Phoenix Fan Fusion, which used to be Phoenix Comic Fest, starts. There's preview night on May 23rd, and that goes through the weekend. So I will be there. If anyone is in the Phoenix area, I'll be exhibiting there. I imagine we'll talk a little bit about some of the prep that goes into that on this show. I thought there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you do go to Circworks on YouTube, if you haven't seen it already, I have my art studio tour that's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm pretty happy with it. And there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go to Circworks on YouTube and check out the art studio tour. It's basically a tour of the underground layer. So yeah, pretty cool.
That's really cool, and I still have yet to be able to see that, so I'll probably be watching that after we record, because I'm pretty excited to see where you work.
Yeah, let me know what you think, and you gotta wait. You gotta watch it all the way to the end, because towards the end is kind of the cool part. So
I'm excited. I can't wait. I think that's a really great thing for people to check out too, because sometimes, like, as an artist and stuff, it's really nice just to kind of see how everybody kind of pulls things together and like what exactly their setup is, and it can give you ideas for your own setup at home. So I think that's awesome that you made it, and I'm sure it's going to be as good as most of your videos, where they're just beautifully like edited. And I shouldn't say most, I should say all. But they're, I'm sure it's going to be a really cool thing. So I hope everybody kind of goes and checks that out. So yeah, so like what I was thinking about, yeah, Victor in the chat said no spoilers for Josh. So
Okay.
but yeah, so for the topic today, I mainly I'm not really sure where this is going to go, and I think it might sometimes some of the best conversations we've had on here kind of start like that. But the general theme I was thinking of is that like I'm like smack dab in the middle of revamping my website on Squarespace because you and Corey sold it. And I'm glad you did, because while I think the first day I might have been like, they're insane, why did they say Squarespace? Then once you get the hang of it, you're like, oh, this is way easier than WordPress. Like it's more intuitive once you kind of play with it, but it requires a little bit of play, like I think most new software. And so I'm in the middle of that, and it's like a big project that's pretty time consuming, and I've kind of given myself a deadline of trying to have at least a structured enough site to where I'll be up before the 18th, so that I don't have to pay the renewal fee for the host that I'm with now.
Okay.
So I'm kind of trying to crunch time and do weeks and weeks worth of work in a couple days. And so hopefully that works out. But in the meantime, you're on a time crunch too, prepping for a convention. And I am weirded out why they called it Fan Fusion, because it's got that like she sells seashells by the seashore kind of problem.
Well, I think they were going for sort of an alliteration thing, but
yeah,
I mean, the reason why they had to change the name, like I think most comic conventions are having to change their name because of the ruling where San Diego apparently they own the term Comic-Con, so
yeah.
no one else unless they are owned by San Diego can use that. So you're going to start seeing basically every other comic convention change their name. So
no, that makes sense.
It's confusing because I think Phoenix preemptively changed their name before, because I mean, eventually, at first the lawsuit was just against, I guess, Salt Lake City Comic Con, and I wasn't sure if Phoenix was going to fall under that because they spelled it a little different. They spelled Comic Con as one word, so but apparently, that's not enough. So they changed it to Comic Fest, and people didn't like that. So from what I understand, the reason why they changed it to Fan Fusion is they wanted something that was specific to them. So if they do other events, it'll be something else Fusion. So at Fusion, that'll be their Comic Con. Where if San Diego owns Comic Con, Phoenix owns Fusion as it relates to pop culture events or whatever. So that's my understanding of why they did that.
Got it. That makes a lot more sense. So you're kind of knee deep in preparing for that. And I know we touched on that kind of in the last Artcasters, but we're both in a really interesting point where we're kind of like midway through, a project with a deadline. And I think mine's possibly a little more flexible than yours. But what's interesting to me is like all the preparation that kind of goes into these things. And to me, what makes it kind of fascinating is like going into the website. I had just kind of forgotten about the amount of preparation outside of just learning the platform a little bit, because it's been a while. Like the basic bones of my older site probably go back about like 10 years, honestly, which I think is going to date how long I've been at this. But it's one of those things where because of that, it makes it a really interesting process, because I have made like all the kind of early mistakes of somebody who's like, oh, I'm just going to build a website, But what's interesting is being at this halfway point. there's kind of a crunch of time and a lack of sleep and a lot of stuff that's kind of gone along with that. But I also kind of thrive on having a tight deadline. And it's kind of an interesting, weird thing about just like anytime I'm in a situation like that. So I was kind of curious, like, what do you do? I mean, obviously you have your preparations. You kind of went over your list on the last one, but like, where are you at for like prepping now for the convention? Do you get nerves about it? Do you wind up is it kind of a crunch toward the end? I mean, you are a really good planner, so I don't know if that maybe is the same for you as it is for me. I was just kind of curious, like where are you at?
Yeah. So this one seems weird because this convention, because I just came off the Kickstarter and everything, and I hadn't really thought about it at all. Usually there's a lot more prep. And originally I thought, I'm going to go there and I'm not going to have anything new. It's just going to be, it's just going to be me coming with the same stuff and, and I'll just kind of roll in there and do kind of what I did before. And there is sort of a benefit to having done this convention so many times that I don't really have to worry so much about, all this stuff. But then, then I'm like, no, I really should do, I need to do a new print. So I was designing a print knowing that I had to get all this stuff out. So I'll have a new print and I'll have some new little lab products. Those tend to do pretty well for me because it's kind of like an entry level thing. Little science experiments. It's weird, the things that sell online and the things that sell in person are like totally different.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
Those lab products do not sell online at all. I'm thinking of doing I'm trying to see about reworking those somehow. Maybe make a package that has all of them. And I don't know if it's just because they're smaller items and with the shipping it can get kind of expensive just for a little kind of a novelty thing. But I've tried so many different things. I tried selling them with a print, and that I found that didn't really work out because people didn't care about the print at the shows. So, but now I kind of like, sometimes I have some of those smaller prints. So sometimes if people buy a certain number, I'll just throw those in, but I won't really advertise it like as such because it's just people don't, But so I'll have some new lab products and that kind of leads into the print that I designed, which I designed a new print that is basically, it's like an old ad in the back of, if you guys, you remember or you've probably seen them if you're younger, the ads in the back of the comics for like all the mail away stuff, like the X-ray glasses and stuff. So I wanted to do something kind of like that, but instead of just making up products, I wanted to actually feature my own, science experiments and products that I actually sell. I thought that would be kind of cool. So I designed that print and I'm like, oh, if I design a new print, am I going to get it done in time to get everything printed and shipped? That's the main thing I've been working on right now, is just trying to get everything printed and get back to me. And also like the comic book. I mean, I want to try, because I feel I would feel bad getting the comic and selling it at the convention without first sending the stuff out to the people back then on Kickstarter. So yeah. I'm going to try to fulfill this thing before I go. So that's going to be a tough one. At least, at least if I can get them in the mail before, so they're at least on their way before I go to comic, whatever you want to call it, FanFest or whatever. So, so just all this stuff I'm trying to get. It's mostly just printing, and I got a lot of the stuff already. But the one thing I do want to mention is that if you guys, I don't know, I've talked about them before, and I've got a video on my site about Cat Print. That's the company I use to do. A lot of people use them for their prints and stuff, but they're awesome, man. I mean, yeah. It's because I was kind of worried. I wasn't too worried because I know they can turn around really good. But this time I submitted my my order, and it was a pretty big order. It was like a $300 order, but I'll let you know that I got $100 off of that because I've got so many coupons from sending people to them through my my thing. And they were cool about it because they have like their affiliate program. If you send somebody to them, you get like $10 off.
Oh, nice.
I've got like 20 of these things. And at first I was like, I talked to them and it's like, is there any way I can combine these? Because I don't place that many orders, but I mean, and they're like, at first they were like, no, we don't really combine them. And then I kind of said, well, I said, okay, that's not really, that's $10 off is great for somebody who just sends one person to you, but it really isn't advantageous for me to keep sending you people if, sending you all these orders if I'm only going to be able to use, because I don't place that many orders at a time.
Yeah.
I can only use $10 off. It just doesn't make it. There's no incentive for me to keep sending people to you. And then I think they saw the logic in that, and they made a special coupon for me. So anyway, so that was cool. But anyway, so I placed the order, and I placed the order in the morning, and later in the afternoon, it says your order has shipped.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and and this isn't a cat print thing, but the only thing. There was an issue. I'm like, oh, this is great. I get this in time. And then I realized that they're shipping through UPS. And I have this issue. I try never to order anything that's shipped through UPS because I've got this problem where this goes back. And this is something that, I just haven't taken care of because it's a pain. It's, kind of pain in the ass. But way back when my identity was stolen, the person that stole it, what they did was they created like a false account, or with my social or whatever they did on UPS, and had all my packages rerouted to a location, like a UPS store location that's like 20 miles from my house. So anytime I order anything from UPS, it gets shipped there. Even if I put my address in, it doesn't matter. It just automatically reroutes it over there. So I'm like, oh man, it's going to go over there. I might as well just finally take care of this. So I called UPS, and of course, that was a nightmare, being on the phone with them for, an hour and a half trying to explain what was going on.
Yeah.
And just those automated setups, because it's like, please enter your tracking number. Well, first I tried to do it online, and it says enter your tracking number. I said, this isn't specific to one order. This is a larger problem. I don't have a tracking number. But finally I just gave them the tracking number for the cat print thing, and, having to explain that, keep getting transferred to other people. And I don't know why these systems, can't just type what the problem is. So when they forward you to the next person, they already know, so you don't have to, because I don't know if they know what I'm talking about or not when they transfer me. So yeah. Okay, do you know anything, or do I have to re-explain this whole situation again? And of course you do.
No. So, and like they always kind of start off with like okay, well, let me get information so that you don't have to say this over and over again.
Right, yeah.
And then they transfer you, and then it's like, so I have this, and it's like, hang on a second, sir. I need to get this information. And your automated system did this, like
and I had things where you enter, like it'll ask you to enter all this stuff, like I think the cable companies like this, where it'll say, please state this, please state your phone number, please state your last 4 digits, whatever. And then so you do all that. And I don't know why you do that, because as soon as the person comes on the line, they ask for that same information again. So I don't know.
Totally.
But anyway, so hopefully it's taken care of. I'll only know once if I get my packages or not, but I'll follow the tracking. But anyway, so long story short, they cat print like within a day. And I'm not going to say this is going to be the norm for you if you place an order with them, for whatever reason, just that same day they already printed it and shipped it. So it was like, wow. So yeah.
So I had forgotten about the referral system, and I need to use that because I actually use them at my work too. And we do like big quantity orders. And I use them for the first time I used them was for my own like personal, like that Monty Python print from a while ago. And it came out so great. And it's really hard to find a printer who can do like really nice poster style prints like that are of a really high quality on like a thick stock of paper with that level of quality. And then also their turnaround time is exceptional and they're really reliable. So I was like, I'll take a risk because we needed to do these things at my job. And like that, I've never had a late order from them. And the next one I do, I'll have to mention that you're the reason I went to them. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely say like Scott said, the same qualifier, like it may not be your situation, but every experience I've had with them, like they're insanely able to deliver like on a really quick schedule, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad though. That's good, because that would be a problem if the prints didn't come, right?
Yeah. So some other things. So I'm also gonna have some pins. Like I don't know if you guys follow Holly Brown, but she started up a laser cutting business where she does like wood cut, like laser stuff. So I got an order coming from her for some little badges.
Nice.
And then I also I placed an order for some enamel pins, but I doubt that I don't think I'm going to get those because they're being shipped. They're being done in China. So I was hoping I would, but I wasn't counting on it. So it's not like a big deal if I don't get those, which I'm sure I won't. But so I'll have that. And I placed the order for the comics through Comics Wellspring, and so far I'm really impressed with them too. I got my proof of print. I approved my proofs, and that should get here, before the comic convention. So I'll probably have, I think what I'll have to do is, I don't know if I can do this, but like, hopefully they'll ship it a little early, because it's supposed to get there like, I think 2 days before the preview night at Comic Convention. So if I have to, I can try to see if I can fulfill all that stuff in a day. I'm just going to get some people to help me. I've already had some offers for people to help me fulfill that stuff.
Oh, wow.
And if I have to recruit my kids, I can do that too. But get that stuff out. But if they ship it a little earlier, then that'll be awesome too. So I'll just have to see on that. But I definitely want it. But I got all so far. I've got my stickers for the because it's a lot of this stuff, because I kind of shop around. So I've got stickers through one company. I already got those. I've got the prints that are going to go with the exclusive prints and stuff for the Kickstarter. I got that through Cat Print, plus my regular print order for the Comic-Con. I don't know what else. The comics. So all that stuff I should be getting. So that should be pretty cool. So that was the main thing. Oh, and then I placed a different order for another sticker, for some smaller stickers that I can get really fairly inexpensive, because I've got the ones that I sell that I want a little higher quality, but then the ones that I'm giving away, I'm not as concerned with the quality because it's free. Yeah. And I need like 1,000 of those that I can just kind of give up, because that's kind of how I get people to the table and stuff. Yeah. So I placed that order today. That they've got a fast turnaround, which it's a little faster than I wanted, because I have to pay like $20 for the shipping for like 2 days, which I don't need it in 2 days, but that's the way they deliver this company, because it's like next day flyers or something. Oh, okay. And then what else? I placed another order today for, what was that for? Postcards. So I did that through Vistaprint. So I'm going to all these different places, because like I don't know if Cat Print has the best deal on like postcards. No, Cat Print is great if you have like, one thing they're great at is if you have multiple different prints. If you just want, I want 2 of this one, 1 of this one, 5 of this one, 6 of that one, and then I've got some for the Kickstarter that I need like 80 of each, So so that's kind of the Cat Print order. The other thing about Cat Print that I'll mention right here, and I probably should do a video on this, but the best way, if you do have a lot of these different orders, I found the easiest way to and I think I told Gaz about this too, and he kind of placed his the same way. But if you say, what I'll do is I'll split all my things up. Like if I have 3 different prints that I need like 8 of, then I'll put them all in one PDF. Oh, nice. Take that PDF, and then I'll just upload it and say I want 8 of this, and it'll print each one as a separate page. But they're not like put into a book or anything. They're just separate things. So it'll print 8 of those. And if I got another one where I need 10, then I'll do that one, and I'll print all the ones 10. So I'll just and the same thing with sizes, or same thing with paper. So anything that's, if it's on the same paper, if it's on the same size, I'll put it in one PDF, and then I'll go to the next one and put all those in separate PDFs. So like the smaller prints I have done on thicker cardstock. The larger prints, I personally don't like them on the heavy cardstock because, for one, if I need to roll it to ship it, and plus most of those get framed anyway. So, and some people prefer like the heavy cardstock for that. I go with the heavy letter paper on my larger prints.
And to clarify, by large, you're talking about like poster size, right? Like
no, not poster size. I found, well, and I haven't looked at their prices lately, but I found that for the large poster, like the 20 by 30,
yeah,
I can get them. I think I can get those cheaper through Costco.
Got it. Okay.
So again, I price around. So, but I'm talking about 12. My prints are 12 by 18. A lot of people do 11 by 17. So basically, because mine all have a white border around it. Like if you go 12 by 18, you can't do a full bleed.
Yeah.
So, but if somebody wants a full bleed and they want 11 by 17, they can cut it down or frame it so it bleeds. But I just go a little bit bigger, like an inch bigger.
Yeah.
And then I've got a white border around it. So my prints are 12 by 18. I get those done through Cat Print. And then I have 9 by 12 are my smaller ones that I sell at shows. And then I also have some 8 by 10s that I need that size to add with because my mailers for like my Kickstarters are like no bigger than 8 by 10. So
yeah. So that's cool. Another place that I like to use for postcards too, just for anybody who might be thinking about it or whatever, I tend to use Got Print a lot for postcards.
Yeah, I go like, it's weird because I use Got Print if it's something that's just I'm handing out for free or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use Vistaprint's always giving me coupons or stuff, so I'll go with that. But I've used Got Print before. If I want a little high quality for the ones I sell, I go with Overnight Prints. I think it's Overnight Prints. They're really good. They've got there's a little more higher quality, I think, their postcards. So
that's good to know. And Got Print actually does vinyl now too, vinyl stickers. Not great quality, but like high quantities for like ridiculously low cost. So
I'll have to look into that. I wonder if they're cheaper than well, I don't know if they're cheaper than the ones I got. I forgot who it's. The one I got was the one that Corey got his stickers from, and I think he got that contact from Holly Brown too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're like die cut stickers or something, like there's no way you're gonna get that through Got Print, because they use those big presses. So
these are Kiss cut, which they are. It means they're custom cut, but they're not. They're on a square sheet.
Got it. Okay.
But if you peel them off, then they've got the custom thing. So
that's rad. Okay, I need that contact from Corey and you.
Yeah. And I think it's just like an individual person that runs it out of their house or something, because it's kind of a weird ordering process. Like you send an email and then you PayPal her, and then but I got them back already and they look great. So
okay. Victor in the chat says he's going to see you at the con. That he's going to be there Friday and Sunday.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely stop by and let me know that you're Victor. And I saw Pepper says that Comics Wellspring sends pretty quickly. So yeah, I remember in the past, yeah. So I mean, if they send when they do, when it says they're going to send it, then I'll get it in time. But I'm kind of hoping. It seems like a lot of times they do what I do and they say that just because that's like the latest, but they'll try to get it sooner.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll send it a little sooner, and that'll give me a little more time. But
yeah, okay. So this is really interesting though, because you've been doing conventions for a long time, and yet it seems like is there ever a time where it's not kind of like a little bit of a crunch at the end where there's some pending product where you're like, will this be ready? No. Yeah.
But it's weird because this one seems like I'm kind of probably at the most rush, but not. Like as far as but I wasn't even worried. I was so concerned with the Kickstarter though. Like I'll focus on that when I'm done with the Kickstarter, and so that's kind of what I did. And I guess because the pressure was kind of off. Like there's certain things that I'm before one of the big things was the bow ties, and this year I'm not even bringing bow ties because like the situation before was that my girlfriend was sewing the bow ties, and then we kind of had sort of a break in our relationship. We're back together now, but I'm not at the point where I'm going to be like, hey, can you do some bow ties for me? But anyways, and plus, I don't think I sold a lot of bow ties at the show last. Those are kind of weird. Sometimes they'll sell great, sometimes they don't sell much. So those I'm not worried about. I really wish I got those enamel pins, just because when you place enamel pin orders, you have to get large quantities, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to sell those if I'm not at a show. I know if I get a table at next year's Creative South, I think I could sell them there because that's kind of that crowd. They love pins and stuff there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot of pins, but I kind of just want to have pins. So I'll see if I can sell it. I'll see if I can sell them, through like the newsletter and online. But I've noticed that my following on YouTube and everything, the comic crowd doesn't really relate that well to the mad science stuff. So I'll just have to see what happens with that. So I won't get those, but we'll see.
Well, who knows? I mean, and it's cool to hear all the preparation and what you are going to have there. So I think if anybody's in Arizona, you guys should definitely stop by there and check it out.
Yeah, I'm always surprised how many people, people that I didn't realize were here, and people just show up and it's like, oh, I didn't know you were in Arizona. So that's awesome. I didn't know Victor was here. So
that's rad. I didn't either. So that's very cool. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So overall, it does sound like, I guess what you're describing sounds pretty good, where it's like it's mostly inventory stuff because you have all the booths set up. You have like a lot of that kind of prearranged. Yes. That's one of the things that freaks me out a little bit,
Yeah, I have the booth set up, but I always do like a dry kind of a trial run beforehand.
Smart.
So that's probably what I'll probably do next week is I'll probably, I like to set everything up in my house and then take some pictures so I know exactly, what the setup is going to be. And it's going to be similar to last year. But like I said, there are a few new, prints and things. Oh, the other new print, I've got the Life in Space poster from last year's anthology. So, that's another one. So,
oh, nice. I'm excited to kind of see how that all comes together, and I'm sure you'll be posting videos and pictures and stuff. I mean, that actually makes me realize something that when I'm done with this website, it might behoove me not to do, which is, if I can, I should probably start kind of, ordering little components for a table setup. I'm not imagining a booth, but just starting to get like the banner and things like that kind of assembled. So it's not like some giant financial hit, to show. Because, it is one of those things where those little things add up, and it's like if you can kind of gradually collect them, it's a little bit easier on the finances, Yeah. And I'm sure I'll be hitting you up for a lot of advice on that because, anybody who hasn't seen Scott's setup yet, you should check it out. It's pretty amazing what you pull off at a convention. As a sole proprietor, it's cool.
Yeah, we'll have to, and the other thing I'm really curious to see how this year goes because I just don't know if I'm wondering if it's going to make sense to keep doing conventions or if I can make more money if I concentrate on some other stuff, like if I concentrate on my online store or something like that. So I'll just kind of have to see how this year goes.
Yeah, that's always kind of I don't know. It seems like that's always a looming question about like whether it's worthwhile to do, and there's kind of one way to find out. I'm excited though. I have a suspicion you'll do well. Yeah, dude. Wow, cool. So like for me, the thing I'm kind of in the middle of is like a website, and let me close out this thing that I'm working on this like last panel for this crazy page. But I'll pull up. Well, anyhow, I got to pull up the thing, but I'll show you a sneak peek. I showed Scott a little bit, but I want to show everybody a little sneak peek of the thing I'm in the middle of, which will probably look pretty familiar because this is sort of like the same. It's very like I got encouraged by Scott and Corey to use Squarespace. So, and it's not quite. It's like in its infancy right now. But right now, I'll show you guys kind of what I have a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. But none of this is live yet, right? But this is kind of what I've been working on the last few days. So when you get to the website, you're going to see this like kind of main component. One thing I thought would be kind of interesting is just talking about this because I feel like it juxtaposes pretty well with the initial problem you were having when you were redesigning your site, where because you've designed so many websites that kind of work with like splicing, and so you would, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like you would kind of lay out the whole site and then send it to a developer, and the developer would kind of put it all together. Or if you built it yourself, like, you know, you were using like systems like Dreamweaver or like certain styles of WordPress where you could kind of like plug in all the stuff and make it work based on a mock-up, kind of like everything pre-designed.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hit a wall because of that, because it's like, no, this you really have to work with the template. I did the opposite because I already had all these assets for my old site. And so I was like, well, that's not going to be the hard part. The hard part is going to be like learning the new system, right? And so flash forward like 5 hours of uploading images, and I'm looking at my site, and I'm like right now that load time's not too bad for that illustration section, but when I finished my first pass, it like crashed the screen because I hadn't curated my portfolio in like a long time. You know, I've been, you know, working as an art director and like just busy, and then freelancing, and I've just let my website kind of sit dead for quite a while. And so I had forgotten like what a pain in the butt it is to curate your own portfolio. And I feel kind of bad because I remember as a young artist, and I'm sure Scott, you probably relate to this, like when you were first building your first maybe portfolio site, I had the opposite problem where it was like I needed to pad it out. Like I felt this need to like pad out my portfolio because I didn't really have a lot. Like I had, you know, a couple of client jobs and stuff like that. So it was like mixing in like school illustrations and stuff like that. And it's weird when you're this far in to freelance where it's like, okay, now I just have to cut like a lot. And it was one of those cases where my wife was super helpful because she's an illustrator. And so she kind of ended up talking me through, let me turn off screen share so I don't share something I shouldn't. But she ended up talking me through the portfolio and stuff. And there were a couple pieces that I had been keeping in my portfolio for like years that I had just been keeping because it was like a job I did for like Miller. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like Miller Lite, like that's a huge client. And and then like my wife was like, yeah, but the piece isn't really the best. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I would say the same thing to another artist. Like objectively, I'd just be like, who cares who you did it for? Does it look good? You know? And so there were a lot of pieces like that just went away, where it's like stuff where I'd feel like, oh, this was really like one of my bigger clients, and then ended up kind of hitting the chopping block. It's kind of a painful thing to do, and I'm surprised. I guess I was a little surprised at how hard it is to curate your own work, even after having to like review people's portfolios all the time. Like I have to do hiring of illustrators all the time. And yet when it comes to my own portfolio, it almost makes it harder because I'm like, I'm aware of like of all the possibilities, like of what somebody could be thinking when they're looking at it. You know, like if I don't have this, then do I suddenly miss that potential person? I don't know. Like, anyhow, did you have any? Because you refreshed, did you have any issues? Like, kind of like honing down your portfolio to like figure out what to do?
Yeah, so my portfolio, see that this is the thing with mine, and it's like, I still don't know if I'm happy with the way it is, because I do take on freelance work, but I'm not really looking for it. So
Yeah,
so if you go to, it doesn't say portfolio, I think it says gallery, but it's basically client work.
yeah,
But I'm kind of wondering if I should like move that stuff out and just put my own personal work in there.
yes,
Because a lot of times what I'll do is if I want to show people the work that I do, I say just go to my store, but I don't want it to seem like I'm telling them to go there to just to buy something if I'm trying to show what my work is.
yeah,
That stuff's all on like t-shirts and stuff like that, but that or prints, and you know, or the image will show somebody holding the print. But that's the work I'm most proud of. So that's the kind of work I want to do more of. And, you know, so I think maybe I should start moving more of that stuff into the gallery instead of the client work. And there's some cool clients projects in there, but so I don't know, I definitely think I want to put some more of my personal stuff in there. So
I would highly support that, because I've never had an experience where I got the work. I mean, and I think you and I are like, I mean, I think you're far more experienced at illustration than I am, because you've been at it longer, you know. But it's but at least in my own experience, like the sexiest work I've gotten was from personal projects that were mixed in my portfolio. So when what you're describing, that led to a lot of really fun work, doing exactly what you said, which is just putting personal work in there, because then you open that opportunity for people. And like you said, it's like just one less sentence you have to tell somebody when you're showing them your work. You know, you just go, oh, like just go to my gallery, you know.
yeah.
Because yeah, anyhow, but yeah, it's a hard thing to measure though, because you also don't want to turn off potential people for other work and stuff as well. I don't know, like for me that was really hard to do, and I probably have too many sections of my site. Like I kind of broke it down initially. I was just gonna have one gallery, and I realized I wanted to show multiple components of what I do. And like if I put like storyboard work I've done for like movies or something in the section with like the illustration stuff, like editorial type stuff, or editorial type stuff mixed with like the more just straight up illustration, like posters and t-shirt designs and stuff that I'm known for, it's like that was really hard. It was hard to figure out how to break it into chunks, because I was like, I don't know. I still don't know if I have it fully pinned down, but I kind of do. I have a rough structure. I kind of figured out a cheat, like a quick cheat with the comics section. And so now what I'm doing is using like a blog and then like posting the gallery in it. But I am concerned about it. Like, it's weird. It's like, I think we're in similar boats in this sense, because one of the functions I want for my site is to like give people a place to check out my work that aren't like necessarily looking to hire me, just people who like to like read comics and want to check out what I do. And so I want to do a cross thing where, of course, I do want to have my portfolio at a level where I can have an art director look at it that's not me and think it's impressive, but I also want to provide enough to where it's kind of engaging and interesting for like, like the people in in the chats, like our hundreds community, like or like anyone who might kind of want to read new comics and stuff, because that's more my interest, is like finding people to like kind of read and check out my comics. It's a weird thing to navigate, man. And it's funny because I thought it would be easier than it was, but the second you start kind of it's like almost like watching a YouTube tutorial on like something in a car engine, but then the reality when you start the thing in the car engine, you're like, oh, this is a lot different than the thing that I just watched, you know. It's been an interesting kind of experience, you know, being like kind of at that mid. But one thing I'll say that it's cool is like pressing through it, all the stuff I didn't know. It's been really encouraging to kind of realize, like, you know, I can, and like it is really a matter of time till that thing's up, you know, which is kind of exciting. But it's so weird when you're kind of in the middle of it, like all the components. And this is where I do think it kind of coincides with like a booth, because like no matter how you plan for the booth, right, you're gonna like inevitably show up there and like need, I don't know, like a socket wrench that you don't have or something, you know.
Yeah.
Like and I don't know, it's an interesting thing with like a website, I guess, because it's been so long. It's been fascinating to me doing that, you know. But I'm erring on the side of like trying to kind of condense it, but I'm not erring on the side of like the total minimalist portfolio, because, you know, there are those people who take more of the side of like only show like 4 or 5 illustrations like that are just great, and then you draw interest, and then people can approach you for more work, you know, to see more stuff.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, I mean, you're an art director, so you kind of have an idea, you know, what they're looking for. So that's, you know, that's beneficial. So you're in a little better position to figure that out.
Yeah.
So Robert says, just make a work page, then separate that stuff out by category, and also have your store page. Yeah. So I kind of had the same thing. Like I wasn't sure, because like for my store, because I sell digital products and I sell physical products, and I opted to do a store for each. And at first I wasn't sure if that was the right way to go, but I talked to some people, and I think that we came to the conclusion that, yeah, it's better to kind of separate those two things. So, so I got store and then downloads, I think is the other one. So for the digital.
Yeah, that's definitely a smart idea. And that might be a weakness of my site when it comes out, is like I might have too many little kind of separated sections. So what's interesting is, you know, like when it's like first launched and stuff, like the second I hit publish, I'm probably going to send it to Robert for feedback, and just kind of get the rundown of like all the bad things I did with the site and stuff like that. But it is kind of fun to play with it, and I feel like I'm only a little bit behind you and Corey on it. You know, but yeah, it's interesting because I think this is the hard part. I'm one art director, and there's a lot, and different art directors are looking for different things.
Correct.
But I will say I have had I've had multiple experiences where I've been like so busy that if I don't see something in the portfolio that's going to fit what I do, I don't bother contacting the person going, can you work in this style? Or can you work like in this way? I just find somebody who's like the right fit for the thing, you know, because it's like I just don't have time. And so I've had times like that, but then I've also had times where I've seen a really talented artist and seen potential for them to fulfill something that doesn't necessarily match what's in there, and been fine with it. So it's weird because I think both are effective. I think it just depends on the personality of the person hiring you and the need they have, right? So it's weird. I'm kind of erring on the side of like, you definitely can't please everyone, you know? So if I get, you know, looked at by somebody who's looking for that like really minimal page where it has like 5 items, which I think is really effective, but if somebody comes to my site and that's the site they want to see, they're going to be disappointed. But if they also want a site where they're going to be like scrolling through like 500 images of illustration, like they're going to be sorely disappointed too. So it's like a weird thing. So I'm pulling back from what I had on my previous site because I think I overdid it. I love the gallery. I think that's my favorite thing about Squarespace is the gallery settings are really cool.
Yeah, there's so many different ways. I should go to mine and kind of see how I've got mine. I don't know how you're doing yours, but let's see. And I don't know. Terminology wise, do you think there's a big difference between saying gallery or saying portfolio or work or?
I have no idea. I mean, I would probably personally associate gallery more with like if you're showing in fine art galleries and stuff. But that might not be a bad perception to give, where you're saying like the style of art I think we both do is like very like pop art oriented, not necessarily. It's not like we're doing a ton of fan art or anything, but it's like definitely influenced by pop culture and like very graphic and illustrative. And I think that could kind of function in a cool way, calling it a gallery, right? You could be saying like, this is art, which is true. And, but I think it could, I don't know. For me, I always stick with just calling it a portfolio because I don't know. I draw a line in my head about it, but like I think that might be more of just like a personal preference thing because I wouldn't have a problem going to somebody's site and realizing the gallery is going to be where their pictures are, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a really good question, actually. What's your kind of thought on it?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember why I went with gallery instead of portfolio. I'm not really sure. But like, so I'm looking at mine and so mine has kind of, it looks like it's similar to yours where it's kind of sporadic. Like I've got some white space between my images and then some of them are just partial images. And if you click on it, you get to see a little more.
Got it.
It's similar. I mean, but I definitely, let's see, I'm going to tell you how many images I have on mine here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got 15 images in my gallery. And it's like, it's mostly, I mean, it's most of the stuff in my portfolio / gallery is kind of fun stuff. This isn't stuff that I wouldn't want to do. It's like mostly incorporates character design and stuff like that. So, I guess I'm not too worried about it, but I kind of, maybe I should keep some of the stuff and also throw in just some more of my own personal artwork. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you can also like, for me, because like I have this kind of stuff, and it ranges a little bit because I don't have like one particular style. Like I'll kind of work in a more kind of graphic, like very heavy line style, and then in kind of a cartoony style and a more sketchy style. And then like this style, which I have no idea what it is, this weird kind of retro tin robot thing.
Yeah.
But I love working in it. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing that. But I felt like they were coherent enough. But then there's things that I do like custom lettering, and that's just straight design. And like that, I felt needed its own section. Because actually what made me think of that was a conversation you were having, you've been having for a while on here about kind of like trying to kind of approach the design world more. And I 100% agree with that because I think there's just more fun with design. And then I have like a book section that just shows like little snippets of like editorials and book covers and stuff because I want book work. And like, again, it didn't look right in the regular portfolio section. But see, this is where I might be going a little too far, right? Because I have Haunted Mansion portraits. Because I wouldn't mind being commissioned to do these. They're fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one because I've heard I'm trying to remember what I was just listening to, and they did make a criticism about having all these different, too many like different offshoots and everything of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've heard both, and I've mainly heard that you just kind of shouldn't have, like, you want a narrative to it. But I think there's different philosophies on that, and that's the kind of the tough part of doing it, because I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I did storyboards and concepts because that kind of work is just different. It's sketchy, it's loose, it's like I don't want to show this as illustration, right? Because it's like a rough for an illustration. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I'm still kind of in the process. So like, for all we know, the site, when it's up, which I'll obviously let people know when it is, but when I'm finally done with it, like, I'll probably send it to you, Corey, a lot of friends that I trust the opinion of, and just get like a take on it. With the comics, I'm gonna put all my decent comics on there. Some that I'm not even like super happy with now, but they were good at the time, because that's more for the comic reader, right? I don't really want to do comics for hire. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down if it was like really good, but I think we've both talked a lot about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole just like, I don't know, the pay difference between like a page rate and just like a single illustration rate can be pretty extreme. So this is more just for people like to be able to read the full comics. So by the time this site is up, you guys will be able to read my failed graphic novel. Not the one I'm currently working on, but the one prior that I'm not even necessarily interested in publishing. But I do think it would be cool to show people, because it's 128 pages, full color. And at the time, it was pretty impressive, So I'm curious how it'll look in this format. I think it'll actually hold up better on a screen than quarterly, which is more like the intentions for print, And then I have a video section, and you just talked to me about that before we started recording, and I think that's a pretty good point, that like maybe a video section is not great because it might send like a conflicting kind of weird message of like somebody being like, I don't even know what this is,
Yeah, and I guess because I had that on my original site, I was posting, my YouTube stuff, and I'm like, at first I was like, because I had somebody that was kind of helping me and giving me some advice, and I'm like, well, am I going to lose all this stuff? And they basically said, well, are you getting a lot of traction through these videos to your website? And I don't think I was. People, if they want to watch my videos, they're going to YouTube. So
yeah.
So I think the more stuff you can take away, probably the better, as long as you're still, whatever your most important thing is. Like for you, this is the other thing on my site right now. I don't know if I changed it yet, but let me see where's my website? Let me see what I got. So like I've got like in order, it says home, and then it says about, and then news, tools, and that's going to change because those aren't really my most important things. My most important things are probably my store, and I just like, is it weird to just put your store up front and center like that? And the advice I got was no. I mean, if that's one of the most important things, you want to have that first,
Nice.
So I mean, if somebody wants to know about me and wants to read about me, they will. But that probably doesn't need to be first, And the news thing, because I haven't really updated it. It's still the same blog that I put up the first time, and I haven't added. So why would that be, second in order of importance? So it looks like you've got portfolio, and that's probably pretty important in comics. So it seems like, yours is a little, so you've got you're about further down the line.
Yeah, I always feel like when I'm going to someone's site, generally the first thing I'm looking at is like information to get me interested in who they are.
Right.
And then the about section answers some of those questions, right?
Yeah.
And then if they really like those questions, then they hit the contact, you know. But it's a weird thing. Like, you know, I've been playing with it a lot. I feel like the structure is there to like at least start building some of these things, so you'll be able to go and kind of check these things out. But yeah, I definitely am realizing too, like the beauty of, and this ties back to like why I'm actually glad you and Corey kind of were hyping Squarespace so much. I'll turn off the screen share again, but like one of the things I like about it is it is fitting the kind of need I have, which is once the structure is there, modifying isn't too hard on this program. It's a really easy CMS for like kind of moving stuff. And then also, I didn't even realize, but there's a lot of like SEO options on there that were not, to my knowledge, on WordPress at all. And so that's pretty exciting too. So I'm excited about getting this thing knocked out, because I think that I think it's going to be a work in progress for a long time, but it's not going to be as much work as at least for me, as I feel WordPress would have been to kind of revamp and kind of try to always update my plugins and deal with that kind of stuff. To me, I just want to deal with the like honing it down, paring it down, making it look cool. And so I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I'm glad you guys kind of talked about it so often, you know, because I think it really helped me jump the hurdle and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. Robert Johnson's giving a lot of feedback here. You can read through that, but I just wanted to. So TJ Dupree asked if we were sharing on Behance, and I haven't been. I think the problem with Behance is that I think the stuff that goes really well on there is where you kind of show a project from start to finish. Like I always go to Behance when I'm looking for like inspiration and stuff. Because they'll say if you're doing a logo design project, they'll show you the sketches, and then they'll show you, you know, how the piece came to be, and then how it's actually printed on products and stuff. So I would like to get some stuff that would kind of that's like that I could share on Behance. But I think in order for something, because all these different social media sites, I mean, they all have their own thing that people are looking for when they go there. Like Dribble is very much, you know, it's usually mostly a finished piece, but simple, not a whole lot of like backgrounds. It's, you know, just usually a simple piece. Instagram, people like to see process a little more. Behance, it looks like, you know, Behance has usually got those long scrolling posts that basically show you, you know, that whole project. And I just don't have anything like that, and I don't know if I have the time to put that together, but I love the way things are presented on Behance. So
yeah, you know, that makes me think of Jessica Hish's website. She, like, I actually looked at it recently because I was looking at just other illustrators and designers and how they have their site. Her site is amazing. I wish I had the time to do a site like that. So she has like, it almost looks like a Squarespace kind of gallery, but then when you click in the gallery, it shows a process of the entire project. So it's like a Behance within, like it's like that kind of vibe, but within the gallery. So like you can kind of look at the thumbnail and then you look at the creation of the art. And it's really cool. It has like notes of the whole thought process and stuff. But I was also realizing that Jessica Hish also is one of the most known designers in the world. So, you know, I think there's a mass audience that would be fascinated with that process, you know, whereas I think if you're kind of like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm no Jessica Hish, so I don't know if I could even pull that off, even if I had the time for it. I don't know if anyone would take the time to kind of go through all that.
Yeah, her book line at Creative South was just like, oh, I'm not going to stand on that line because it was out, it wrapped around the whole thing. So yeah,
and justifiably so. I mean, it's beautiful work. Like that book is just it kills me. you guys, Robert in the chats was saying to pay attention to mobile, and he was like, I'm almost tempted to try Squarespace. Well, I will show you something. I don't know if Scott and Corey showed, but check this out. Like,
oh yeah, it'll show you exactly what it looks like on the iPad and the phone.
Yeah, so now I know exactly what it's going to look like, right? So if I hit that, it's going to slide down. I'm going to have my comics pop up, my portfolio pop up. Let's say I go to illustration. I do need to work on that load time. So Robert, I will talk to you. But check this out. So then people will be able to scroll. But if they're like, if they click on it with their finger or whatever, it should be able to like swipe through or scroll, which is kind of cool. So I'm pretty excited about it actually. And that's like, again, if that was a feature on WordPress, I was missing it. Did you see a feature like that on WordPress? I don't know.
I don't think so. I know there's a lot of customizing things on WordPress if you know how to do it, but I don't really know how to do it.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily the best at WordPress anyway. I mean, I've built a lot of sites on it, but I don't know it back and forward. But there are things that are really intuitive about just the CMS that I really like about this. I have to admit though, like I was tearing my hair out at first, just trying to kind of figure out like a new thing. But now that I've figured it out, I'm pretty into it. So, Robert also, he's mentioned a lot of really cool stuff. He actually, I'm kind of going to think about this, but he said portfolio is like when we were asking about portfolio versus gallery.
Mm-hmm.
He said portfolio is you're looking for work. Gallery is a little too boring, old school, and work is current, passion, no excuses. Huh, Robert, you're kind of selling me on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe work. That would kind of solve my, because if I'm trying to decide between gallery or portfolio, if I just go with another option, then that kind of. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Ordering your menu is important. I would even put your actual portfolio page first. That's not a bad idea to kind of make just the portfolio the first page. Place high importance on mobile look, and then I think that was pretty much it. But it's all very like helpful stuff.
Yeah, the problem. I mean, I definitely understand. I think you definitely want it to look good on mobile, but the problem is mobile is very. It's very limited. I mean, they're just the way it stacks things. Yeah. I mean, it compresses everything, so it's not your. As far as from an art standpoint, it's not the best looking kind of design, but a lot of people are going to be viewing on their mobile device. But
yeah.
So the way I go about it is, I mean, I focus on desktop because to me that's how it should be viewed.
Yeah.
But as long as the mobile also looks good, but I don't think the mobile is ever going to look better than the desktop just because it's just the way it stacks things, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Robert reiterated what you were saying, which is it has higher use and it's increasing, and that's true. But I kind of side with you on that, Scott, too, because it's kind of like the old illustration rule where things that are small when they're blown up, like things that look great small often don't look great blown up, but a lot of things look really great when they're big and they're reduced just to be small. So it's like that old drawing things at like a little bit bigger of a size and then shrinking it down kind of principle. I take the same method where I'm like, I want to see how it's going to look on the screen, and then occasionally be cross-checking with how it functions and looks on mobile. As long as they both look good, I think I'm good. But I usually start with the screen too, because you're right. If it's not working on your screen, if it works great on mobile, but then on a browser it doesn't look great. Like a lot of art directors are working on browsers, So like if you're meeting somebody for the first time, they're probably looking at your stuff on the phone. But that is really interesting. I really like just like a lot of the the tips and stuff. That's cool. And he recommended Cloudflare for optimizing images, which I have not used and I'll look into. Yeah, but I'm pretty excited about the process, but I'm also, there is this like dooming loom of like, there's so much I have to do, like especially I still haven't done all the titles and stuff on the images, and I don't know, did you do like all your data and SEO stuff like as you were building it, Scott, or did you do that after getting the images up?
Most of it was, I already have, so I've got like a Evernote that has like all my, like from my store, it's got every piece in there. It's got all the keywords and everything on there. So it's just a matter of taking that what was already on my existing site and cutting and pasting it and putting it in there, which took a long time because there's so many different SKUs and everything. And I tend to want to fill all that stuff up. But it's kind of like a lot of upfront work.
Yeah.
It's when you've got, say, 30 products, you've got to do it for all 30. But once they're done, I don't release 30 products every time I release products. It's usually after that, it's like one and then another one. And then it's not as overwhelming because I'm just doing one at a time after that. So
yeah,
there's just a lot of upfront setup. But once you get it there,
That's awesome. Man, so you're feeling like you're in good shape for the convention then, or is there that looming deadline?
The only thing I don't like is the load in and load out is just always a pain, and they change it every year, so you never really know what to expect. Like last year, like if you have an Artist Alley table, or last year if you were there or whatever, they had free pallet service, which was awesome. Then they try to do away with that completely, and I guess enough people complain that now they offer you one free pallet if you have a booth. But I've got 2 Artist Alley tables, so, and that wasn't a big deal. I was just kind of convenient.
Yeah.
But so, and I was wondering if there was a way to avoid that where I could just take, because they're trying to get certain, like when they say Artist Alley, they're thinking a lot of people that come from out of town where they've just got like a suitcase and they can just roll in there and set stuff up real easy. My setup's a little more elaborate, so I think I still have to go through the whole thing where I can't bring it in through the regular entrance and everything. But anyway, so the biggest problem is the load out on Sunday at the end of the day, because you have to have, for one, you've got to have 2. It's like you have to have 2 people. You have to, if you loading in or loading out, you have one person to wait with the stuff and one person to get the car, and it's like hours. So what I'm wondering if I should just do, and I don't know the timing and everything, but I was thinking, well, what if I just loaded all my stuff up, got my dock pass, and not have anyone go get the car and bring it, but just after I get everything loaded up, just wrap it in like, in this saran wrap, whatever you call that. And then just leave and go eat dinner and hang out and then come back after everything dies out, like closer to midnight. I don't know if most people want to get out of there, but it's such a hassle. I'm just wondering if I should just like wait it out, but I don't know. So that's something I'm thinking about.
Man. Yeah, it's funny, those little things, those little things that become like daunting things. But what's neat is like you'll figure that out when you're there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For me, like what's interesting is I'm actually just excited to have to finally have kind of gotten over the hurdle of kind of just biting the bullet and doing the redesign of the site that I needed to do. And I'm sure you and Corey probably had that recently too. There's like this sense of relief because like at the time I designed my older site, like the resolution of most screens was a lot different. And so like the quality of just even the kinds of images I could upload weren't the best representation of the art that I make. And it's kind of cool to be working on this and have the previews like be really crisp, and be able to show like, well, my work's not perfect or anything, but it definitely looks better on this beta site than it ever looked on my older site, and that's very exciting, and to kind of do. Although I am like, there is a part of me that really wants to do cool components and designs. I mean, it's just so inspiring what you've been doing with like the fake advert theme and stuff. I absolutely love that. I think that's brilliant and really cool, and it just makes your website look really current and neat. And I don't know, I that makes me kind of want to dip into that a little more too. But the neat thing is, once the structure is there, making those tweaks and changes or additions and stuff, I don't think it'll be quite as complicated, as like I said, like trying to kind of take like a web 2.0 style site and make it a web whatever point it is now.
Yeah. And some of that, there's still, I still have to get to doing some changes to my website. So some of that may change.
Yeah.
Make it a little easier to figure out what I do. So, but I'll have to see when I get around to that.
Well, and the nice thing is, at least your site is at a point where you probably wouldn't feel like extremely embarrassed to.
Right. And I'm not. And that's one of the reasons why I'm, even though I'd like to get that done,
yeah.
I keep pushing it back because it's not at a point where I'm embarrassed or anything. But I think it's going to be, I think when I get it finished, it's going to be more, it's going to make more sense, and it's going to convert more and everything. For one of the reasons, like right now, if you go to sign up for my mailing list, you have to enter your first and last name, which is something that I probably shouldn't have done because a lot of people don't want to enter their last name. So I think I can get more people to sign up to the mailing list if they don't have to put their first and last name. But the reason why I did, because there's different formats, and the one I picked had that as a default to enter your first and last name. So, but anyway, so just different things like that I want to fix that I think is going to help,
That's awesome. So I do have a question regarding the mailing list. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry to just keep harping on it, but it's just really fascinating since I'm at this point of like kind of building this new thing. So like with your mailing list, you use like MailChimp or?
Yeah, I use MailChimp. And I mean, I don't have to worry about this now. The only thing that I've heard, one of the things I've heard about the people that say the reason not to use MailChimp is if you do build your email up to a certain degree, then once they start charging you, it may, I don't know if it gets pricier than whatever the other option is, or if the other, I don't know.
Got it.
But I think you have to have like, I don't know if it's 1,000 before they charge you. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But
so like as you know, I used to have like a mailing list, and I still have a lot of those contacts. Yeah,
I was on it.
Yeah, and so like what's interesting is if I were to use like a mailing service like MailChimp or something like that, does that integrate with Squarespace? Like for instance,
there is certain things that will link it up. Yeah, so for like when you sign up on my website for my mailing list, it'll send a thing to MailChimp that sends another thing that will send out the the actual product, the Comic Maker Starter Kit and everything. And I think there was different ways that it's kind of complicated because like that product was, I mean, you can have Squarespace set it up so it will actually email you like a digital file. Like most people are doing like ebooks or something like that, or something that's not a huge file. My Comic Maker Starter Kit is a pretty big file. So I think I had to upload that to like Google Drive, and then so it does all this stuff. It goes to like MailChimp, and then it goes to Google Drive and back to Squarespace and all this stuff. And it's been so long since I set it up, I forgot how I did it. But I mean, that's just stuff you got to research and figure it out when you're doing it, and then you kind of forget about it after you've accomplished it. So.
Oh yeah, no, I was just curious if it, was something you could integrate. I assume probably so because it is integrated on your site. But I was wondering about that because that might be something I might want to kind of eventually add as well, because I do agree with you on like the value of I think you and Dan Eckes talks a lot about that too, and I just I think that would be a good thing to kind of get going as well. I don't know what lit the fire to kind of start doing this, but it's kind of it is surprising how long I kind of let it go with not doing it. I don't know. I find myself do that a lot. But like, yeah, so now I'm kind of excited to get back on the horse with that kind of stuff, let's see. So, I think like, is there anything you're kind of wanting to kind of like get out of this convention? I mean, your objective is going to be obviously, gaining more fans, meeting with people, who are already fans, potentially making some money, well, definitely making some money, hopefully making a lot of money. And, but other than that, do you have like a key objective that like is the main reason you go to these go to conventions?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping my investment, pays off and everything, and that I earn some money. But I do enjoy going. I do enjoy just getting to meet people and talking with them, and the whole experience. I mean, I like that. So if it gets to the point where I just don't think whatever profit I'm making is enough where I couldn't be making more money just at home, like working on stuff. Then, I mean, the problem is I'll miss doing those shows. But the other thing with comic convention is you earn whatever money you earn. They want you to sign up right away for the next table. So a big chunk of that goes back into next year. So it's almost like you don't really see a decent profit until you finally decide, well, I'm done with conventions, and then you're not investing the bulk of whatever you made into the next convention, and you get to take it home and you say, okay, wow, I finally get a payout.
That's actually a fair point, because the cost is pretty substantial, and you're like having to kind of invest in one of the bigger costs you'll have to do for the next year, which is that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, last year it was good because I was a guest, so I got to take home a bit more, but this year I'm not. So it'll be that. I mean, if I was invited as a guest to a convention, I would show up in a heartbeat, probably. I mean, I've heard people talk about even sometimes when they are invited as a guest, if they're at a certain level, that sometimes it's still not worth it,
Yeah.
I've listened. I've heard. I don't know if you guys listen to Comic Lab, with I'm trying to remember. Oh man, why can't I think of the hosts? They're webcomic guys. They used to do like Webcomic Weekly and stuff like that.
Okay.
But they've got a great podcast, and they talk about that, where sometimes even when they're invited, it's their time is better spent doing other things than sitting for a weekend doing that, So yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Man, well, yeah, I'm trying to think of any other thing other than, so when you're prepping for a con like this, you're also freelancing and also, selling stuff on the store, and also working on a cover for, for the anthology, and putting out videos. Do you find like, like how do you balance like all of that, especially when you have a looming kind of deadline, you know?
Oh man, that's the $1 million question, I guess. I mean, it's just like all I know is like, I mean, just getting after that Kickstarter and everything. What I've been doing for the past week or so is just trying to, get all this stuff out there, get all my stuff finished where I can get it ready for print, and then sending it out to get it printed and getting it back. Now that I've done that, it seems like right now I kind of have a little breather. Like next week, I've got probably going to have a couple client projects starting up, but a lot of that other weight is off my shoulder. So, I'm just kind of moving in towards, and once the comic convention is over, then I'm going to take a little breather and I'm going to get back to doing. I keep pushing the digital products out because that's one of the things I really want to focus on, and hopefully if I can build that up. I mean, that could bring in, like, that could be one of those avenues that could be bringing in, a decent amount of revenue where it would probably supersede like whatever I would make at a convention. But I have to have time to work on that stuff, and I keep pushing that aside, that in the website. So, yeah.
Yeah. I've been just like, I haven't been sleeping a lot this week because of the website, and just trying to kind of get the thing functional and ready. Mainly because like I said, I really don't want to pay my service provider a ton of money anymore for like malware protection and stuff. It's like, it's just for like an old out of date site.
Yeah.
So I'm really eager to get it done. But in the meantime, it's just been really a struggle not to like let any ball drop, because once again, it's like on top of, freelance and work, and then the comic and the commute and stuff. It's a weird juggle. And I'm always, waiting for the day that like one of my buddies doing art just goes, I figured it out finally, like I've got the magic trick that makes this doable. But anyhow, so if I find that person, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Cool. So thanks to everybody like who's joined us in the chats. It's made it really fun to kind of have you guys hanging in there. And Robert, dude, I'm not kidding. I am going to bug you about my site.
I will be too, but it'll be a little ways down the road when I get done with the convention and everything, and I get back to my site. So.
Yeah. And then Scott, just remind me again, how soon is that convention?
It is. Hold on, let me open my calendar. It is. It starts. The preview night is Thursday the 23rd, and then the actual first day is that following Friday through Sunday.
Wow, that's very soon.
So not this weekend, not the next weekend, but the following weekend.
I love it. I think it's going to be a good one.
We'll see.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and hear the report. Or if you guys are watching, you should go and say hi to Scott.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in Arizona, yeah, come out and see me.
Exactly. Or just print out the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's free, and you could print it out and have him sign it.
Digital, no, print it out, make something with it, and show me what you made. That's the coolest thing.
Dude,
people have been posting stuff that they make, and I see people that are using it and everything, and that's really cool to see.
That is so cool. I actually kind of want you to show me some of that stuff after we finish. Cool. Do you feel like we missed anything? Did we miss any topics? Am I cutting it too short?
No. I think we did a pretty good job, seeing it was just us two.
Yeah. And I think every once in a while it's kind of a refresher to have that. In full disclosure, like I said, juggling so many plates, it's even more difficult to book a guest, and especially when every cartoonist I know at this point in time is in the exact boat you're in, Scott, where they're all prepping for conventions or at conventions. So it's that season where it's going to be really hard to get a hold of cartoonists. So yeah, so anyhow, you're on my channel. You know where to find me. If you want to check out, even quarterly stories will eventually be moving to that site, and then that URL will be just bringing you directly to my new website's page. That's just for quarterly stories on the main hub site. So looking forward to that. But until then, you guys can check out the older sites, while it lasts at quarterlystories.com or joshuakemble.com. And Scott, if I wanted to, print out some Comic Maker starter kit stuff, where exactly would I go to kind of do that?
And then, just go to circworks.com, and there's a thing on there that says start making comics, and click on that, and it'll just sign up there, and you'll get that, and you'll be signed up for my mailing list, and you'll get some other free stuff and tips and videos and all that kind of stuff through the mailing list as well. So yeah, that's where you find that. And like I said, I've got on my channel right now, I've got my art studio tour. So definitely check that out. That was a lot of fun making it, and so far the comments, people are digging it. So yeah, other than that, we also do Artcasters every week. We rotate back and forth between my channel and Josh's channel. Today it's on Josh's, and next week it'll be on my channel. And so usually on a Thursday, usually around 9 o'clock Pacific time, but that can vary. So if you want to know exactly we're going to be going live, the best way to do that is to join the mailing list for the Artcasters mailing list, and we don't spam you or anything like that. Usually about 20-30 minutes ahead of us going live, we send out the newsletter and just let people know where we're going to be, what channel, and with a link to the chat and all that kind of stuff. So so yeah, sign up for that. There's a link in the description.
Love it. Okay, thanks to everybody who joined us in the chats again. You guys make the show even better. I think that pretty much, sorry, I just realized it was like a black screen. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So thanks, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.